everybody, welcome in. Go ahead and grab a seat and get comfortable, get excited. Say hi to the person next to you. For those that I have not had the pleasure of meeting yet, my name is Christina, and I am so happy to be on staff here with LeadAbroad, and I'm beyond excited to tackle adventures with you all this summer and to grow alongside you and really just create memories and have fun together. Today we will be diving into Tuesday Lunch Club that we call TLC here with LeadAbroad. This is really just a time to get comfortable with one another and be open and fearless and really just have conversation. We know that we learn so much from adventures together, and we learn so much when we grow in conversation at dinner together, but also it is so important to just have this intentional conversation. So I want to go ahead and encourage a spirit of boldness in here to just really be comfortable and open with one another so that we can learn from our own lessons as well as one another's. And so here, this is just a time to really hear what we are all learning together. And at Tuesday Lunch Club today, we're going to be talking about boundaries. So before we begin, really just want to hear from you all. When you hear the word boundaries, what first pops into your head? Obstacles, okay. Something to overcome, I love that, that's very good. Confidence, okay, these are all good answers. How about when we think of internal boundaries? What are some internal boundaries that come to your mind when you hear internal boundaries? Fear, that's definitely one that we may approach when we're jumping off of bridges or experiencing some good heights here. Okay, overconfidence, that's an interesting one. I love to hear that, very creative. Pride, yes. Okay, yeah, there's many internal boundaries that we will be overcoming together here with our LeadAbroad trip. So also when you think of boundaries, there are some external boundaries. When we look at this picture, we see on the side of the road, there are these guardrails. So these can also be boundaries that are implemented for safety. You know those little, I call them road flaps on the side of the road when you're veering off a little bit too much and they warn you, they kind of shake your car a little bit. I love road flaps, I think that they're kind of fun. But they're also there to protect you and ensure that you are staying within your limits. So naturally with our trip here with LeadAbroad, we will also have some external boundaries, some rules set in place. And of course, this is not to poop on the party, but rather to make sure that all is going well so that we can have the most fun and grow alongside each other as much as possible and really embrace the opportunities, but also be safe here together. So just want to go ahead and encourage, of course, like any trip, these boundaries are to keep you safe, to keep you protected, and to ensure that we all have the best time as possible and embrace every moment as much as possible here together. So moving forward, talking a little bit about the dark side. When y'all look at this picture, what do you think of? A corporate bubble, yes, absolutely. Breaking out of your comfort zone, definitely. Yes, these are all good ones. I certainly see this. We see there's this bubble and these dotted lines, and yes, this man certainly looks like he is in his comfort zone, in his corporate bubble, kind of 9 to 5, you think, sitting at a desk, but he is realizing that he can't be just following this routine and going with the daily flow, that he has to somewhat break out of this comfort zone in order to achieve this success, achieve this highlight of his life, and really break his comfort zone to embrace his life. So could we call out maybe some potential boundaries that we may face here with LeadAbroad? Yes, breaking out of your comfort zone, meeting new people. Definitely meeting new people, that's a good one. Okay, breaking out of your comfort zone, your fear of heights, definitely. We can break that comfort zone alongside one another here. These are all good ones. As we embark on adventures of each day here, I think that we'll have different bubbles that we need to break, different comfort zones that will be pushed and broken to really achieve success together, whether it is in the classroom, learning new lessons. Y'all are really tackling some credit hours while you're here, or it can also be during the daytime of adventures, or even experiencing nightlife and dinners and different cultures. So moving forward, some boundaries to break through as we are here together in Italy. There are certainly plenty of obstacles, and with change, it's very natural to encounter some hiccups. So as we look at obstacles here in Italy, one that first comes to mind would definitely be stereotyping each other and locals. And we know that it is natural, it's human nature to develop an opinion as we first see somebody, but really want to start off this journey and challenge you all to reconsider any primary opinions that you may have of others, specifically locals here in Italy, as we dive into another culture. So just want to go ahead and set a strong foundation that we will not be stereotyping people from their culture, but rather we can learn and grow from various cultures. It's really important to embrace these opportunities to learn from those around you. And I know we've already gotten to know each other in the room a little bit and may have already naturally formed opinions of one another, but rather than seeing these as strange or weird, really want to challenge you all to see various personalities and habits as different and unique and ones to embrace instead. So maybe you've had a conversation with someone and they've already somewhat annoyed you, but rather than just pushing them away, consider that it may be a stressful scenario that they've been in, maybe their first time traveling internationally or first time really breaking down their own comfort zone, bursting their own comfort bubble to grow and get to know new people. So they may be overwhelmed, and rather than pushing yourself away from them, would love to just go ahead and challenge you to be intentional and sit down with them, go grab coffee with them one-on-one, and really just learn their story, because you may be surprised at how much you can learn and grow from their story. Additionally, there are some self-imposed boundaries that we all have on ourselves, things that we may think we cannot achieve or things that we may think that we're not capable of doing, but certainly go ahead and throw that out the window, because you are going to be learning so much about yourself, and go ahead and preach it to yourself that you are so capable, and this journey will teach you so much beyond your comfort zone and what you have ever imagined. So go ahead and set that foundation of confidence and just pure excitement for what is to come. And additionally, we're going to be talking about time and energy along with other limited resources that we'll experience along this trip, and really just how to set a solid game plan to ensure that you are taking care of yourself and therefore taking care of those around you and making the most of this trip. So to begin, as we mentioned, with change, we naturally do encounter hiccups, and we encounter some bumps in the road, some obstacles, whether it be a large boulder in our road or a simple pebble that you bump over. So we really just have to learn to embrace these obstacles to really learn and grow the most that we possibly can. So for every problem, there is a solution, and yes, we will run into problems, but let's look at them as opportunities rather than a hindrance. As we think of these obstacles, go ahead and be brainstorming, and we will ensure to share with the person next to you. Go ahead and already break our comfort zone, maybe speaking to someone new. So if you will take a moment and think, and then we will share with the person next to you. So maybe about 15 more seconds, just thinking. Okay, now if you will turn to the person next to you and introduce yourself, go ahead and say something fun about yourself and share an obstacle that you think that you may personally overcome on this trip. Amazing. So, does anybody want to share what is the obstacle that you personally are going to overcome? Okay, meeting new people, absolutely. There's that fear of heights again, absolutely. First time traveling internationally, amazing. So now, as we think of these obstacles that we are preparing to overcome, kind of putting on that armor, ready to fight, how can we prepare right now to face this obstacle? Journaling every day, I love that one, absolutely. I think speaking confidence into yourself can be so important, and additionally, that's great for later reflection of how you did grow, day to day. What are some other ways that we can prepare right now to face these obstacles that we're overcoming? Intentionality of meeting new people, certainly. I love intentionality and fear. If you are nervous of meeting new people, go ahead and make sure that you specifically take time to sit down one-on-one with people and really overcome that fear. That is so good. Absolutely. So speaking of these, how will you grow if you are able to overcome these obstacles? Growing in confidence, definitely. This is such an opportunity. Overcoming fear simply means growing in your confidence in who you are and who you were created to be. What are some other ways you can grow if you are able to overcome these obstacles? Tackling new adventures, definitely. Yeah, kind of checking off the bucket list and just growing in the life that you've created for yourself. That is so good. Okay, so moving on to assumptions. I think it's important to point out that it is natural to make assumptions as we do begin to meet new people and diving into a new culture. So what we might naturally think when we first see something new to us is, that's weird, or that's strange. But rather than thinking that when we first dive into a new culture or even meet someone within this room, let's start thinking of it as, that's unique, or that is something that I could learn from, or that's different than my natural rhythm, and see it as an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to grow as you meet people and dive into a culture that is different than yourself. So be excited to adapt to this and be excited for the chance to challenge your limits and challenge that bubble that we naturally put ourselves in. Just go ahead and know that we are popping that bubble together, and you are going to learn and grow, especially from those around you, and just grow in your own journey. Additionally, it's important to keep in mind that other people are naturally putting an assumption toward you. So as we are diving into this culture, there are people that are looking at you and creating a perspective of America based on the image that you put forward. So you are challenging the perspective of Americans as you're here, which is an incredible opportunity as we dive into new situations to really just put forth the best image of kindness and a great interaction with those that you are blessed to have a conversation with. And additionally, even just setting forth a great image when you're not having a conversation. For example, many Americans are known for being loud in environments. So maybe as we're at dinner, be intentional every 5 or 10 minutes to pause and make sure that we're having a conversation that fits in with those around us. So we're not taking over the room, but we're being respectful of the others that are in the room and matching their volume, if you will. And I know that it's natural to be loud when you're having fun, and there will be plenty of times to really embrace the loudness. And when we're outdoors jumping off bridges and such together, you scream as loud as you can. You just get that all out of your system. But when we're in an environment that demands respect, we just need to be very intentional to be matching the tone and to not be overpowering, as sometimes we are known to do. Additionally, we will continue to meet new people as we're together, and we will form opinions of each other as we get to know each other, which is natural. But you may have already found that buddy, that arm-to-arm person that you want to tackle every adventure with, you want to study for every test with, but that is not necessarily what this is all about. Of course, you want to form deep relationships, but don't just stick to that one person that you came here knowing, but get to know other people. You can get to know other people together and open your mind to people who are somewhat different than you and your closest friends. But if you just stick to spending every waking moment with one person, with your one roommate, then I don't think you'll embrace this opportunity as much as is possible. Finally, there will be assumptions about you that will be broken, maybe assumptions that you carry with you here from your family or friends. So maybe you're known to be scared, a big scaredy cat, and you are not one to jump off that bridge, or you're not one to climb the Eiffel Tower. But this is the chance to really break those walls down and not carry that with you. Additionally, maybe you are known to complain a lot, and it can absolutely be in a joking way, but maybe you want to redefine yourself. Maybe you want to implement positivity into your life. And as you overcome these hiccups on your road here with LeadAbroad, maybe this is the opportunity to really break those walls down and become positive and speak life into every situation. Kind of see the brighter side of things. So don't let those assumptions that you have weigh you down, but throw them off your shoulders and tackle them face on so that you can really redefine yourself and grow while you're here, embracing every moment of adventure and embracing every conversation that you may have. So, as we're speaking of ourselves, diving in a little bit to self-preservation. So, this is somewhat a way of the idea that we must have it all together at all times, that we have to be perfect and have to be happy and everything has to be going smoothly. Well, that's not going to happen. That will never happen, not even just here with LeadAbroad. In general, that is just not the case. So we do not need to pretend like this is the case. So as we think of self-preservation, I want to challenge you all to just be thinking of, what are you afraid of losing? What are you trying to hide, either from yourself or from those around you? And what are you trying to prove, and who are you trying to prove it to? So I know that a lot of times it's encouraged to be perfect and happy at all times, but here, no, we want to really dive into vulnerability and to authenticity. So what are the ways that you can really be real with those around you? So when you think of vulnerability, what comes to your mind? Okay, being open, breaking down walls. Yeah, just being real, certainly. So throughout our trip here together with LeadAbroad, there are many times that we will be challenged and we will be scared and maybe want to let fear overcome us, but rather than acting like we're fearless, I think it opens doors for relationships to grow when we maybe admit that we're scared, but we will overcome it together. So the person next to you might be terrified, but when we're acting like we have it all together and like all is fine, they don't feel comfortable or open to admit that they are also fearful. So I think this vulnerability and breaking down that wall of pride, acting like we have it all together, that really opens the door for relationships to be formed as we overcome these obstacles together and ensure that no one has to overcome any of these obstacles by themselves. We also mentioned at the beginning that there are limited resources on this trip. So what are some limited resources that we may face? Time, energy, yep, we got it going on up here with time and energy. What else? Money, definitely. I know some might not have as much of a limited resource of money, but some of us certainly do have a limited resource of money, which is something to keep in mind as we embark on day-to-day adventures here in Italy together. So speaking specifically of time and energy, what here is really competing for your time and for your energy? Classes, definitely. As we said, I mean, you're knocking out a whole semester in 5 weeks while you're here. So there will be plenty of studying to happen while we're here together. What else? Adventures, yes, that bucket list, that will definitely be competing for your time and energy, and that is a good thing without a doubt. And I think it's important to keep in mind that time and energy are certainly limited, but it's just important to keep balance at the center of it all. So we need to be intentional right now to map out what we want to put most time and energy toward and how we will do so. With everything, there's a trade-off and there are choices to be made. So when do you find yourself lacking energy? Middle of the day? Morning? Okay, not a morning person. So I think it's good to really just be aware of yourself and be aware of when you might need that cup of coffee or that rest, and make sure that you are recharging. We're not here to run yourselves dry, but to fill yourself up with life. So make sure that you are self-aware and you know when you will be most challenged throughout the day, and be intentional to take care of yourself. We want you all to make the most of this trip and embrace every moment, but to do so, you need to be well rested and you need to be feeling alive and full of energy. So make sure that you are intentional to do so. And defining our obstacles. As I mentioned a little bit ago, problems always have a solution. If it does not have a solution, then it's not a problem. And that is the definition of a problem, is situations that do have a solution. Now, if there is no solution, then it's a regrettable situation that you're in. Wow, wow, wow. So that is a situation where you have no control and there is no solution. So that is the difference between a problem and regrettable situation. As I also said, we need to make sure that we're thinking of problems as opportunities to grow. It's an obstacle to overcome, and you will overcome this problem without a doubt. So just keep in mind that even though you may be facing a troubled situation, that does not mean there's not a way out of it. However, we may find ourselves also in regrettable situations in which positivity will be very important, knowing that there is nothing that you can do about it, but you must measure whether it's a problem or a regrettable situation. And finally, there are unavoidable conflicts, which would essentially require you to deny physics and be in two places at once. And this is where decisions need to be made. Obviously, you cannot be two places at once. I think we all know that. So you must decide where you want to be and where you think is most fruitful for you to grow and embrace this opportunity as much as possible. Because you can't be climbing the Eiffel Tower and studying. Well, maybe you could. You can't be jumping off a bridge and studying at the same time. So it's important to make sure that you are being wise with how you spend your time and wise with how you spend your energy, because there will be decisions to be made and there will be solutions to be had with problems. So in focusing on where do we focus our energy, it's very essential to recognize what is out of your control and not to focus our energy on what is out of our control, but rather to be positive of this situation. You may have no control over certain circumstances that happen here, so do not waste your time just kind of focusing on that and pouring in so much energy to that, but rather just be positive and recognize that it will all be okay, and be grateful of the situation that you're in, because there's so much to be embraced here and so much to be happy about. As for problems, seek out solutions to problems and be excited for the growth that is to come as you do find solutions to these problems. And of course, travel is the perfect practice for all of this. Travel is the perfect practice for this growth. So as we've mentioned, embrace all of these small obstacles and know that they are a chance to grow and learn more about yourself and learn more about those around you. Meet new people with an open mind. Make sure that you don't just put a perspective on someone and stick to it. Sit down with them one-on-one, have coffee, be intentional, and learn their story. Do something that you thought you couldn't. I love the quote that says, do something that scares you every day. I think that's really how we learn, is, as we said, out of our comfort zone. So go ahead and burst that bubble and do something that people have told you that you couldn't, or you just tell yourself that you couldn't, because you can. And get out of your comfort zone. Just be uncomfortable and challenge yourself. And finally, be very smart with your time and energy to ensure that you're embracing every moment that we are blessed to have here together. And one of the founders of LeadAbroad, Courtney Rodova, said, the great thing about grit is it's a muscle to be strengthened. Do not outsource your obstacles, not to parents, to friends, or future self, just to avoid a problem. Each challenge prepares you for the next and makes you stronger. So think of these challenges as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity to sharpen that grit. So just be thinking to yourself, did you stick to your latest goal or did you quit? Did you step outside of your comfort zone? Is your first instinct in a crisis to phone home or solve it yourself? Do you find yourself losing control of your emotions frequently? And do you enjoy the drama? So let's learn and grow about ourselves and about those around you. And finally, I just want to challenge you all to create a bucket list while you're here. I know someone mentioned a journal. I think that's a great way to just really grow in who you are and just be recognizing those small steps to victory that you're taking. But as you continue on this journey, be checking off those items on the bucket list. Be thinking of how you want to grow and what adventures you most want to succeed and to tackle together, and do it. And it's going to feel so good with each and every one of those check marks. But be intentional about your time, be intentional about your perspective of those around you, and most importantly, be intentional to break out of your comfort zone. I'm so happy to be meeting you all and to take on this adventure with each and every one of you, and hope that I will also have time to dive into conversation one-on-one with all of you and learn and grow alongside you. So thank you all so much.